From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today at the Super Bowl.
Half the fun of watching the Super Bowl is seeing how creative advertisers can get with the commercials. A successful ad can generate buzz well after the game.
For some, it's most of the fun of the game. But this morning, we wanted to take a look back at some of the most iconic Super Bowl commercials of all time. And joining us is Matt Miller. He is president and CEO of the Association of Independent Commercial Producers. Matt, good morning.
Good morning. It's great to see you here. You know, you've been here all week talking about all these commercials that have been previewed on the internet, millions and millions of views. I got to tell you, it's taken a lot of the joy out of it for me, and I think a lot of people have expressed the same thing. There's nothing to wait for.
Well, you know, it is telling people what their Christmas present is before Christmas, you know, before they get to open it. In some ways that could be true, but the PR buzz, you know, the amount of money being spent by corporations, they really do want to get in front of it. And now we do have the tool of the internet and social networks and all of that, and people want to feel a little bit in the know. So, you know, people are exploiting that and trying to work with it as much as they can.
It's like the hype for a movie.
Right, the advertisers are getting a lot out of it, but maybe we're feeling a little let down by it.
Maybe, and we'll even see if all of the advertisers are getting a lot out of it. Some are, and some may not be getting as much as
well,
others.
Let's look in the past here, because some of the Super Bowl commercials are iconic. We remember them to this day. You go back 30 years, it was 1979, I think, the Mean Joe Greene commercial. We asked our viewers to vote on their favorite, and this was #1.
Help?
What made that ad so special?
Well, it was interesting because even then, they weren't really sure about the Super Bowl. You know, it's obviously iconic, we've all seen it, but in fact, it actually started airing months before, during the NFL season. But when it came time to the game, they felt like they would put it out there. And it created, you know, one of the, what I'll call the buckets of styles of Super Bowl commercials. This was the heart tug.
Yeah.
And this was a real emotional piece. You took a character like Mean Joe Greene, everyone knew him, even his name said what he was all about, and gave him a real human soft moment, and it obviously connected.
This next commercial only aired once, and it was on January 22nd of 1984. Let's take a look.
Celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives we have created for the first time in all history.
This was the first commercial produced specifically for the Super Bowl audience, but it almost didn't air. This is from Apple. Why?
This is from Apple, and you're right. It was produced specifically for the Super Bowl by director Ridley Scott. He had just come off of doing Blade Runner. He was at the top of his game, and Lee Clow and the people at Chiat Day really saw this as an opportunity. Steve Jobs was behind it, but there was a new board then. John Scully had just come in. There, you know, there's a whole different thing going on, and it became a big debate. In the end, they decided to kill it. But this one airing survived because they held on to it. And they felt that strongly that it could be something for the company, making a statement that they could be different than what had existed in the computer world.
This next ad became a catchphrase. If I say, "What's up?" you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you?
I certainly
the
do.
Budweiser
So does
ad.
everyone else.
Hello? Hey, who? What's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you?
Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud.
True. True.
What's up?
But that's what you want. Not only a commercial people remember, but it becomes a pop catchphrase.
That's it. I mean, if it could become part of culture and go on. Look, back then we didn't have the internet to pass things around. You wanted people on Monday in their office around the water cooler saying, "What's up?" And then if it can go further than that. And, you know, that is today's network. And, you know, Charles Stone, the creator and director of this spot, and that's him in there with all of his buddies, just creating something that was a cultural icon and then lived on. I mean, they did sequels to it. It became a continuing character, the Wasabi, the last one, if you remember that one. And, you know, they really were able to take it year after year and make people look forward to saying, what are those guys going to do this year?
What's up? We want to get to one last one because this perhaps, these babies are some of the most recognizable babies on the airwaves. And using a baby with a 30-year-old man discussing his investment portfolio. Genius or just a stroke of luck that it went off so well?
Well, I think a lot of people tried to figure out what it was all about at the beginning, but, you do talk to the creators of it. This baby is supposed to have the intellect of a 30-year-old male. So he's speaking to you like that, but he's a baby. And this was a classic one that was from 2010. This is the 5th year they're going to be running them. And, this one they actually got sued by Lindsay Lohan because they called the other baby Lindsay a milkaholic. So they actually try to be contemporary in what's going on.
I think this year the baby should say, "What's up?"
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Miller, thanks very much. Great to see you here.
Great to be here.
Up next, who's your hospital?